Hi, welcome everyone. Happy to have you back today. I have another amazing guest that I want to introduce you to. Her name is LuSundra, and she is all things tax expert. And I know you all have a lot of questions about tax, and some of you maybe hate it, some of you maybe love it. And we're going to get into a lot of the things around why bookkeeping is so critical for your business, not just for tax time, but in general. And then tell you a little bit more how tax pros identify issues with what's going on in your business before they get started filing your taxes, because it's such a relevant topic for this time of year and for any other time of year that you feel that you're not paying attention to your books. So if you haven't met me before, I'm Carla Titus. I'm the founder and CEO of Wealth and Worth Within. We are a fractional CFO firm providing financial consulting and advisory services to grow in business so they can have more profit, have cash in the bank, and pay themselves well so they can build personal wealth. And I want to introduce our friend LuSundra. LuSundra, you want to tell people more about you?
Absolutely. So thank you for having me, first of all. But I am LuSundra Everett. I am the owner of Everett Tax Solutions and the sister company ETS Tax Relief. And we provide tax support, the preparation, the planning, and ultimately problem solving for business owners.
We love that, as so many people need that support. So happy to have you here today. And I know that we were chatting before we hit record about just what we're seeing in the environment of business ownership. Anything from small business to established business has sometimes this kind of difficulty. So let's start by talking about how do you handle clients that have poor bookkeeping or poor books that are coming to you for help with their taxes, probably last minute, but even with, time available, how are you handling and helping them through, their poor bookkeeping?
We will refer them to a trusted bookkeeper. We will file an extension for them and refer them to a trusted bookkeeper, because how can we file an accurate tax return without accurate books? So, one of the things that people overlook is at the bottom of the tax return, it says that you're signing under penalty of perjury, that everything is true and correct to the best of your knowledge. If you know
Oh
the
my
books are
goodness.
wrong, then you can't file the return. So if I know that something is wrong, I am prohibited from filing that return. Circular 230 says, no, ma'am, you cannot. So we will absolutely file an extension for them. Like, I will even do that as a courtesy. Like, listen, we need to file this extension for you because you have to go get this fixed before we can really assist you properly in filing this return and then helping you, with the next steps, in your part of growth, because a part of growth is also managing tax liabilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like, we got to get this part done first before we can really do anything else.
Yeah, I love that that's your starting point, because I think a lot of times, and I don't want to speak for all accountants out there, but accountants are busy. They're trying to meet deadlines. They're under a lot of pressure from their clients to just file the return no matter what.
Right.
And I love that you take a moment to pause to say, hey, listen, this does not look right and you need help. And we need to send you to a professional team that can handle that for you before we file on this set of books that are incorrect, because then your tax return will be incorrect. And maybe you will overpay on taxes or underpay on taxes. And then later this will come back. So we want to avoid those issues and get ahead of it. And filing an extension, my understanding, and I'll address your signing the bottom of the return too, piece, does not also extend your time for paying the taxes. So you still need to make sure you pay that tax bill, whatever your estimated amount is. You can always overshoot it, work with your accountant to define that, and make sure you get that payment in while you wait for the tax return to be finalized. And they can do some number running and make sure, as long as your books are not too terrible,
Right.
while you're getting
Right.
your books cleaned up. And then last but not least, like, you as a client are signing next to your accountant's signature that you verify that your records are not only accurate, but that you're telling the truth in your tax return. And guess what? That means you have responsibility to make sure your books are in order. If you're not already working with a bookkeeping team like us, then you will need some support, because there is bookkeeping teams that can come in and do a cleanup once a year. But you know what the best thing is if you maintain your books every month consistently to avoid getting behind because it costs more money to catch books up, and have the peace of mind that now you know what's going on in your business too, which we'll get a little bit more into later.
Absolutely. Yeah, when people, talk about cleanup, I'll say something like, hey, what did you have for lunch on June 6th? And I'm like, I can't remember what I did on June 6th.
No idea.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you can't remember what you had for lunch, you're not going to remember what happened on that day in your books either. So this is why you have to have maintenance in your books. Like you're not going to remember what was going on then.
Exactly. Another piece I say with like a bookkeeping team, you have that not only accountability ongoing, but I'll tell you, we had a client, we actually were able to identify a fraud charge ahead of them even noticing because someone's looking at their books consistently. We were able to flag it and the client was able to jump right in and contact the bank and let them know what's going on. So this is also an advantage or benefit of having a
Yes.
bookkeeping team, my goodness, can't talk today, that is constantly looking at your books and identifying things that are off to
Hmm.
ensure that accuracy is, the name of the game with it when it comes to your finances, but also keeping an eye on it for bad actors because this happens unfortunately too often. And business owners have too much on their plate to be monitoring their bank account and credit cards every single day. But if this is our day job, we're happy to do it because we do it consistently. We can spot when those things happen that are off, that we can tell could be a problem. Obviously, we'll ask the question and make sure that is the case. And it wasn't just a one-off, situation. The owner did pay themselves
Yeah.
or did something different, which is fine. Totally happens. Okay, so I want to get a little bit more into when a tax professional, just like bookkeeping team, identifies that something is off, because when we get a set of books, we know right away, we're like, ooh, this looks off, and here's where we're going to start digging and cleaning things up and making sure everything looks good. But as a
Mhm.
tax professional, tell me a little bit about your process on how you identify what is off with someone's situation, and then how do you address it?
Yeah, it's typically going to show itself on the balance sheet. Like you can look at expenses, and sometimes, knowing the type of business that it is. And this is why people specialize in certain areas, because you'll know based on your client base, like there's something wrong with this number. Like, why do you have $20,000 in meals and every other client I have that does the exact same thing that you do has about $2,000 in meals? Like, so things like that we know are related to a specific industry, something like that will make us go, something is not right. But
Mm-hmm.
we will also look on that balance sheet. I even require a balance sheet from my sole proprietor, single member LLC clients, right? Because there are plenty of businesses who are still sole props that are making a lot of money. And so, even though we're wondering why, whole whole other subject. But we're looking at this balance sheet, and I actually got a new client, and I looked at her balance sheet, and her assets were showing a negative $500,000. I was like, oh, so your books haven't been reconciled ever,
Yes. Such a
ever.
common problem.
Yeah, because we have this pervasive thing in society that you as a business owner should be able to do it all. And if you just have software, you too can be a bookkeeper. Like, listen, bookkeeping is not categorizing expenses. No, there's so much more to it than that. And I do have clients that say, "Oh, well, I will just," like, "You are not a bookkeeper." Like, I am not a bookkeeper. This is what I do. Could I do my own bookkeeping? Yes, but it is not my zone of genius. Therefore, I have a bookkeeper that I pay just like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is what we're talking about, is like, even just passing that off, it frees up so much of your mental space to go run your business and boss out over there versus trying to figure out how to reconcile, 2 or 3 years worth of books. Like, no, just no. But those are the things when I see expenses that seem very off for a particular industry, I'll ask questions, but it
Mm-hmm.
mainly shows in the balance sheet. But the other thing I will say is this: it's actually not our job to check your books. A tax professional is well within their job to just prepare their taxes based on what you provided and let the chips fall where they may, because it specifically states that, hey, we're not reviewing your books. It is a courtesy for us to say, hey, something seems off here,
Hmm.
right?
For
So,
sure.
yeah. So I just want to make sure that people understand that, because you want to blame the tax professional. Oh, well, you should have done XYZ. No, no. As a business owner, these are your books.
They're your responsibility. And
Yeah.
that's why we say if you do not have the bandwidth, because you know what? You did not get into business to do all the number things and do all the
No.
bookkeeping, because that's really not what lights you up. You got into business to do what you're good at. You should be focusing on growing your business, not micromanaging every transaction that comes through, right? Of course, we want you to have visibility and manage your numbers and finances. For sure, that is a responsibility of the CEO, but that doesn't mean you have to do it all. And so when you spoke about, where the bodies get buried is the balance sheet. We see this all the time. Balances that carry over, balances that are incorrect. And then it really throws your overall, tax filing. And if
Right.
you're not careful, most bookkeepers do not pay attention to the balance sheet.
Yeah.
We are one of those teams that have to make sure the balance sheet is balanced, accurate, and consistent every year, looked at, not just the profit and loss statement, which is where a lot of bookkeepers stopped at. And
Hmm.
the reason we're sharing this with you, because I want you to ask yourself, is my bookkeeping team talking to me about the balance sheet or not? And if
Right.
they're not, maybe they don't have the accounting background necessary to be your bookkeeper. And sometimes we just grow out of our service providers, and that is totally okay. There's nothing wrong. Who you started with maybe will not be here for the next stage of business and growth. You maybe need to upgrade your support, and that is totally okay. We see this happen all the time.
Yeah.
But the balance sheet is just as important as the profit and loss statement, and it's where everything goes to hide. And when tax preparers see the balance sheet is off, they're going to ask a lot of questions, hopefully. But like you
Mhm.
said, it is not your responsibility. You file based on what you're provided, because the client's responsibility is to ensure that records are accurate, which is why a bookkeeping team is so valuable, because we are doing this day and out. We know the trends. We can spot mistakes. We can fix those mistakes and help you have accurate financials throughout the year rather than at tax time when you're against the deadline. And make sure that you have those not only categorized, but like you said, reconcile to the dollar each transaction to make sure that everything is accurate. There's no duplicate charges. There's no wrong amounts that you're being charged. There's no missing transactions, and ensure that the validity of the data is
Mhm.
at 100%. And then give you a report so that you can manage the finance. But instead of you having to go through all the QuickBooks categorization and such, you again have better things to do in your business,
Mhm.
like grow it, enjoy it, and do the things you love and are good at that you can charge money
Absolutely.
for or sell products for to get the money you need, instead of messing around in QuickBooks. And also the one recent one that we've seen happen is people connect their apps to QuickBooks and duplicate all the work, and then we have to go clean it up. So do not connect your apps unless you talk to your bookkeeping team
Yeah.
first, so that you can get some guidance to make sure you're not making the work harder. I know your intention is to help, but just talk to them before you do anything like that. We had a situation like that recently, so we've been having to work through that. And again, it's making sure your records are accurate. Data integrity is everything in a
Yeah.
business, especially when you're running it, and you should be making sure that you have that. And if you're not able to keep up with it, it's time to outsource and delegate it, because you know what, bookkeeping is affordable, and it will save you so much time and headaches, because now you're passing on that responsibility to your bookkeeping team to make sure they're your eyes on the books to ensure that accuracy. And that's what you're paying for. So if you're not getting accuracy, time to assess who you're working with.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that brings me to talking more about how does this poor accounting or poor bookkeeping ends up reflecting on your tax return, which is what a lot of people care about. They're like, well, why should I care? Well, here's why you should care, because LuSundra is going to tell you why this impacts your tax return and how it could impact it, so you can be more diligent about keeping up with your books.
Absolutely. It's going to impact how much you pay. And who loves paying taxes? If you're out there and you love paying taxes, just send us a message so we can have you committed.
I don't say I love, but I like that I have a tax bill because that means I'm making money.
Right.
So we'll leave it at that.
Still, nobody likes to write the check, right? I mean, when you write that check, it's like, oh, that hurts, but yes, you're glad you made money, but nobody really likes to send
Mhm.
that money online, wherever we send it, carrier pigeon, we don't like it. So but if we have to do it, we want to make sure that we're paying the right amount of tax. And let me
Mhm.
tell you how this looks. I had a particular client. I looked at his bookkeeping. I said, you need a new bookkeeper. He told me I was nuts. Okay, cool. Like, listen, the way this is looking, this doesn't even look right. But okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Great. We
You don't
get
do
to,
this for a living. It's okay.
no, not at all. I have no clue what I'm talking about. No problem. We get to his tax return and then he has a $40,000 tax bill. Oh, there's something wrong. Really? Really,
Hmm.
there is something wrong? Because you weren't expecting to have this $40,000 tax bill because I told you you needed a new bookkeeper. And it was, my bookkeeper does what I tell them to do. And I said, that is the problem because you are not a bookkeeper.
Mm-mm.
Why are they doing what you say? A bookkeeper is going to do their job and tell you, no, this is not right.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what a good bookkeeper and anybody on your team is not a yes person. They are taking
Mm-mm.
ownership of that responsibility that they have, and they're going to do the job to the best of their ability. So if the books aren't right, whether it is your profit and loss statement, if it's your balance sheet, your distributions, all of those things, if none of that is right, you're going to end up paying more than what you should. And when it
Mhm.
gets to be pervasive, and this has really become a big deal in S corps here lately. This is why we got new forms. Whenever
Mhm.
something's a problem, we're gonna get a new form from the IRS. Okay.
Love
And so,
it.
but it comes from people not doing things like tracking basis and all of those things that, this is part of what you're supposed to do as a business
Mhm.
owner, as a shareholder in an S corp, as a partner in a partnership. This is what part of your responsibility is. And if those numbers are off, then you might not be able to take losses that you're entitled to. You might be taking too much and not paying enough. And then on audit, you'll have to pay money back plus penalties and
And
interest.
interest.
So
Mhm.
this is why. And whenever I'm talking to newer business owners, I'm like, listen, I'm the tax person. I'm telling you, you need a bookkeeper before you need me because the bookkeeping is going to inform everything else. So if you've got
Absolutely.
terrible bookkeeping that you've done yourself and you have no idea what you're doing, I had one person tell me, he's like, yeah, I've been working at this for 3 days. And I'm like, yeah, 3 whole days. Yeah,
We work at it all
no.
year long.
Yeah, like like no, this is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So as when I get new business owners, and this is why I really like getting new business owners in the beginning, because it's a lot easier to fix things from a year ago, even 2 years ago, than 5 years down the road,
Definitely.
you
Yeah.
know? So yeah, I mean, I am like the bookkeeping advocate. Like, do not come to me if you don't have clean books. I have a list of bookkeepers here. You can go be great, pick the one that suits
Yeah.
you, but don't come here without good
For
bookkeeping.
sure. I mean, every business is aiming to make profit, and therefore we're going to have to pay tax, right? This
Yeah,
is the cost of doing business, is what
yeah.
we call it. And whether you like it or not, whether you love taxes or not, doesn't matter. You got to pay on the tax.
Mhm.
Now, do we want you to pay more? No, we want you to pay just your fair share. In order to pay your fair share, you need to have good records that say, I was able to take all my deductions. I was able to expend, the real true business expenses. By the way, I know some people out there
Absolutely.
like to do some other things, real, necessary, and ordinary
Mhm.
business expenses that are required to run your business, people. And once you capture those, then you're able to take those deductions. So it's important
Yeah.
that you have the good records to be able to validate that that you took those write-offs the right way. I know a lot of people love to get that TikTok advice with the strategies and all the sexy moves you can do.
Mhm.
And sure, you do what you feel comfortable as far as risk taking, because
Right.
some of the strategies do invite audits and do invite additional scrutiny. Just FYI, in case you guys are not thinking about that,
Absolutely.
and leave you sometimes worse off than the year that you took that deduction. So some things to consider, but it's your business, you decide. But we want to make sure people are thinking about this as a way to minimize legally their tax liability, to ensure all business expenses are captured as a deduction and legitimate write-off that we want you all to benefit from, because that's the whole point of owning a business. You get to benefit from those write-offs, so we
Yeah.
want you to take them on. In order to do that, you need good clean records,
Hmm.
someone who knows what they're doing. They cannot be a yes person, because when it comes to bookkeeping, we are going to determine, as your bookkeeper, how that expense should be categorized.
Hmm.
Now, you might have some thoughts and ideas and you might want to see it a certain way, but we might tell you that from an accounting perspective, that is not how that's categorized. Or from an IRS perspective, that's not how they look at it. And so
Hmm.
you need a team and a bookkeeping team that's experienced, as professional, that knows how things should be categorized, that doesn't just take orders from you. And
Right.
unfortunately, business owners, you might not love that. And that is okay, because what they're doing is they're trying to save you money. They're trying to put things in the right bucket so that when it comes to tax time, your tax preparer can take care of that and make sure you get the maximum you can out of your business. And
Yeah.
again,
That's like the
the name of the
team.
game is profit.
It's a team. Sometimes have you watched football lately? Do you see teammates on the sideline getting in each other's faces? That's because we want to win. We want to win. And sometimes it's not pretty.
Definitely not pretty, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of business owners are following advice that maybe it's not coming from professionals. It's maybe just coming from people who want to sell you something. And I just caution you, make sure you're listening to people who do this for a living, who are certified, who have some background and experience in this area, that understand accounting and IRS guidelines and rules, because that's who you want to have in your corner. And if that's not who you have today, that's okay. Just make sure you go look for those people to be
Mhm.
in your corner, because we want to support you. We want you to win. And because when you win, we all win. So we want to be there alongside you to advise you and counsel you on how to best address some of these tax situations. Also, take advantage of some of the tax code that's available to you. We will tell you when that's the time, when it's time to change to an S corp, to save on self-employment tax. Like, we will be there telling you, hey, it looks like it's time. Let's go talk to, the tax preparer and
Mhm.
accountant to see what they say. And that's the kind of team you need to have in your corner, not one that's just going to wait for you to tell them what to do. That's not proactively doing your books every month. That's, behind 3, 6 months and hasn't bothered you, or even ask you a question about items that need to be clarified. Like, if you're
Right.
not getting communications from your team every month on this, maybe you need to talk to them and reach out and say, what's going on? I should be getting not only a profit and loss statement every month, but I should also be getting asked questions every month on, hey, what
Mhm.
is this charge for? Like, hey, can you clarify this? And if that's not happening,
Absolutely.
then you don't have a proactive professional bookkeeping team in your corner yet, which is fine. Again, you can just go look for one and make sure you have the right people in your corner.
Absolutely. Yeah, because my bookkeeper is fabulous. Okay. She is fabulous because I am getting those dings. What is this? And she's
Mm.
like, hey, you haven't sent this to me. So I'm getting the same thing. She will come for me if I have done something and I have not told her.
It's so funny
But
you
I
say that,
love
because
it though. So I
yeah,
really do try to when I know I may purchase something that's probably not going to show up right. I will send her a message and say, "Hey, I purchased this. This is what it is." And she's like, "Okay, great, thanks," because that helps
love
to
it.
facilitate things. But do you let me forget though?
Yeah,
Mm,
no, that is exactly how we enjoy the very communicative clients, because we know what's going on. We can keep a note. And then when we do the month end close, then we know exactly where,
Yeah.
things should go. The other thing I'll say, when you said they hound me down and like, they stay on top, we're like always telling our clients, like, we work for you. We want to support you. We also want to get the work done that you're
Yeah.
paying us to do. So we will send you reminders. We will ask for things. We will be on top of it because we want you to know that we're here to support you and make sure
Exactly.
that you do not get behind, because as a business owner, you should have insight into what's happening in your business every month. And if you don't, I do not know how you run a successful business, especially as it starts to get more complex and starts to grow. It's so necessary to have the data to make informed decisions. And while we're not going to get into that today, it is something that is the foundation of every successful business out there. So know that having those records, not just for tax time, but every month, is going to help you drive your business to better outcomes, especially if you're paying attention.
Yeah. The one question that I will ask that will let me know if they've got bookkeeping, I'll ask them, what's your gross revenue?
They can't
Now,
answer that.
if you can't answer, not even within a ballpark, I know you don't have bookkeeping.
Yeah,
Like you
that's
have to,
probably
like
right.
you should know from month to month how much your gross revenue is, what your profit is. Like those are basic foundational questions. Nobody's asking you, down to the penny, but you should be able to say, yeah, this month I made $125,000, or you know what, my revenue dropped. I usually make 125,000, I only made 100,000 this month, right? Those are things that bookkeeping will tell you that just having a spreadsheet will not.
Exactly. You get that insight at the right time so that you can then know and be aware and then make decisions based on
Yeah,
that change. And maybe it's a positive change, maybe it's not. So
yeah,
being able to adjust and pivot is the part of being a business owner, right? And navigating all of that. But if you also feel intimidated by your numbers and you need some support, I want you to be able to reach out to LuSundra or myself, and we'll be able to help you. We're here, providing support to a lot of businesses. We want you all to succeed. And, sometimes the numbers can be intimidating. I get it. Sometimes the numbers don't look the way you want them to look, and therefore you shy away from it. But awareness is the first step towards solving the issue. And then let us help you navigate that. So, LuSundra, can you tell people where they can find you if they want more information?
absolutely. But can I talk about these numbers for a second? Because you just said
Yes,
something
sure. Of
that is
course.
so good. It's so good. Bookkeeping is not personal. Bookkeeping is a reflection of activity. So if you say, I really don't like my sales number, okay, then how do we make that number better? There is nothing deficient about you as a business owner. It's just
Mhm.
something you might need to learn. So, and I think a lot of times people look at their bookkeeping, they look at their numbers and think, oh my God, I'm so bad at this, or I'm, whatever. You internalize those results, but it's really just feedback. So then if it's sales, then like, okay, I need to go work with somebody to help me with my sales. Or if you like, we need to pivot in a new direction because this was going this way, then you might call Carla for as a, fractional CFO to see outlooks and all of those things. But it's not personal. It's not anything for you to say that there's something wrong with you. It just may be something that you don't know. Like, I
Yes.
really want people to really receive that. And, and that's where the anxiety comes from. It's like, I'm going to look at my books and I'm going to be in trouble.
Mhm.
Like, no, you need to know what you need to fix, improve, whatever. And everything could be going great. And you don't even know that.
Yeah,
Right?
that's the good ones when they get pleasantly surprised. They're like, oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
worse. It's like, well, we don't know because we're not looking, do
We're
we?
not looking. So yeah, so I just wanted to really share that because I have that conversation a lot with people when it comes to
It's
bookkeeping.
true.
It's not personal. It's just a reflection of activity that you can then, which you can't change, what you don't track, right?
Exactly. And then
So
once you know, you can do something about it.
you can do something about it. That's it. So okay, sorry, I went left there, but I just really wanted to get that out there. But yes, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is LuSundra Everett, and I'm also at Everett Tax Solutions. That is my website. Make sure you get the three T's in there. I did not think about that when I named my company.
It
Having
happens.
two T's at the end of my name and another T. Like, yeah, because I get my own email address wrong sometimes, but it is what it is. But yes, you can find me there and I would be glad to connect with you.
Fantastic. And if you're looking for a fractional CFO, make sure you check our website at wealthworthwithin.com. There's a Let's Get Started, book a call, and we'll talk about your needs and how we might be able to support you. And if you're not ready to hire us, but you want to follow along and get educated on how to manage business finances, sign up for our newsletter on our website as well. And if nothing else, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram at Wealth Worth Within for consistent educational content so you can feel more empowered about your numbers and start to take control of your financial future in your business so you can have the results that you want to see on that profit and loss statement and also your balance sheet. So thank you so much for being here today, LuSundra. We really enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for all the knowledge you share. And I hope the audience, contacts us and let us know how they felt about this episode and what they're going to do and implement going forward because of it. So thanks for being
Absolutely.
here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time. Bye, everyone.